This is why I don't do live, guys. God dang it. Denny, stop talking to me from in there. Good morning. All right. I always check everything to make sure, like all systems are go, and 5 minutes ago everything worked. I hate live. I mean, I love live because I can actually see who's there and get a sense of who's doing yoga with me. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Good morning, Karen, and hello, Val. Hello, Allie. And my brother is here. And Bree. Hi, Bree. And hopefully some others will come along and join us. And if you're watching this later on a stream, I apologize for that gaffe, and we'll probably take it out. We'll fix it in post. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Leah, good morning, sweetheart. Hello, Leah. Happy Saturday to you, too. So before I was laying down some really heavy shit, like just this is the power of yoga, and I was speaking passionately from the heart and from my soul, and fucking no mic. So that goes to prove my point today, which is like we learn from the difficulty, right? We all want like an easy, comfy life. We all like, man, can I just get a break? But we learn through difficulty and challenge, and that's part of the reason why yoga works. Let's just shut up, Scott. Let's fucking do it. Come on. All right. Red Bull gives you wings. Did you roll out your mat yet? Are you ready? Okay. I was also saying that people think that I just wake up and I stick my foot behind my head. I can be tired, I can be sore, I can be stiff, and I'm feeling quite a bit like that today. But that's why yoga, guys. That's why yoga. So let me switch here. Stand at the center of your mat, and we're just going to loosen up the arms and the shoulders a little bit. So I want you to just reach your hands out, ball your hands into fists, and turn one hand up. It doesn't matter which one, and then switch them. Now don't go really fast. And don't go so slow like you're trying to do a yoga pose either. But just kind of move and rotate that humerus bone in the glenoid fossa. I'm going to talk some sexy talk this morning. Now I want you to take your hands like a baseball ref. Safe. Or is that out? I don't know. I don't follow baseball. You're out. Maybe that's out. But do this. And as your hands go back, you're going to feel that stretch across the arm line, which goes from thumb to thumb across your chest, right? So when you just kind of draw those arms back, really opening up that chest. Now let's make some circles with bent elbows. See, already I can feel the delts kind of burning, warming up, and now make those circles the other way. Woo! Like, woo! We're having a party. We're having a yoga party. I'm going to turn to the side, and we're going to step our feet out just a little bit and bend your knees one at a time. And try to be on the heels of your feet as you switch. So on the one that's not bearing weight, turn your toes out a little bit. Get used to rotating your weight on your heel. Now we're going to settle down like we're pushing our butt into a nice soft couch. Fingertips on the floor. Both knees are bent, hands are flat. Slide your butt from side to side, just like you did when you were standing upright. This time it's going to be much more challenging to straighten your legs, but try to keep your hips low. I call this polishing the park bench. So try to imagine your butt is on a park bench and you're trying to polish it. And now come to center. Both legs are relatively straight. Take your hands, bind them behind you, squeeze the palms, and bow the heart to the back edge of your mat behind your heels, and lift your fists. First, I want you to notice that you'll stretch the front of the delt when you just drive your fists over your head. But then think about trying to get your knuckles on the ceiling and the heart over the front long edge of the mat, which is in front of your toes. In other words, lengthen from your collarbones to your thighs and knuckles to the ceiling. Bend the left knee and pull your knuckles to the left. Look to your right. Saturday, Saturday. I'm singing Elton John. And that's what we call, go ahead and release and switch. Bend your right knee, pull your fist to the right and look to the left. See, when I just throw in some singing, in business vernacular, that's called value added. And then come back to center. And we're going to go hands back down to the floor. Now I want you to slide them to the long edge behind your heels and rotate your hands so that your palms are flat and your fingers are pointing the opposite direction of your toes. And again, with your knees slightly bent, you're going to try to pull your collarbones away from the hip crease and make your back a little flatter. And we can take a look at that from the side as well. We rarely have a deep, life-changing epiphany when things are going really well. And my whole point is that while we've been dealing with quarantines and a pandemic, go ahead and make your way feet closer together, just toe heeling, until your hands are on the floor and your feet are behind your toes. Left hand on the mat right under your heart. And just like before when our legs were apart, reach up with your right hand and let your left knee bend. Take a couple of slow, deep breaths here. And then slowly take your right hand down and let your right knee begin to bend as you reach your left hand up. Now I'm turning towards the camera there, so hello. Now as you reach up with your left hand, push down into your left heel and try to increase the space between the foot and the hand. So I was having a conversation yesterday, and it went like a lot of, I'm guessing many of your conversations go. Man, I wish things would just get back to normal. And lamenting what was lost, go ahead and release. Hands on the knees. Pull the heart forward and flatten the back. And then rise all the way up to the top. Now we're going to turn back to the top of the mat. Reach both hands up into the air. Exhale, hinge forward. Fingertips to the floor. Bend your knees and squat. And reach your hands forward. Try to make your arms parallel to your thighs, which are parallel to the floor and the ceiling. Maybe turn your palms up. And imagine you've got a tray in your hand and you want to pull it towards your mouth and eat a cake. But don't bend your elbows to do it. Reach out and rise up. Connect the palms and then bow forward again. Fingertips to the floor. We're going to do that 3 times. You know I love 3s. Squat down, thighs parallel to the floor or as close as you can get this morning. And then reach your hands forward until your arms are parallel to each other and the floor and the ceiling. Rotate your palms up. See, because it's starting to get real, right? All of this shit. That was easy. Now we're working. Now it's It's starting to suck a little bit, right? Rise up. Exhale, hinge forward. So I've been in the habit lately of counting my COVID blessings. And that's the things that are going right or the things that are going well because of this. Bend your knees, squat down, thighs parallel to the ground. Lift your heart, reach your arms out. Rotate your palms up. And this says, every pose can be thought of as a gesture. And this one is, I'm suffering, but I still have a little bit to give. And what I got to give, I'll give it. And I'll bear what I must. Rise up. Nice job, guys. Exhale, hinge forward. This time when the fingers come to the floor, we're just going to go ahead and step the feet back and lower the knees. Yay, that one's nice. Point your toes behind you. Let's go to the side and sit to your heels. Close your mouth and see if you can slow the heart rate down by breathing deeply through the nose. There we go. Now let's plant the hands in front of the knees, curl the toes under, push back and lift the knees. Your toes might turn out and the heels might connect. Let's go to the front. And I'm just trying to push my butt down to the back edge of my mat. And I'm keeping my arms forward and my hands reaching forward so I don't actually fall on my butt. And then we're going to come knees down, lift the butt, point the toes, and sit to the heels. And maybe even lean back a little bit. Let's do that again. Plant your hands in front of you, lift your butt, curl your toes under, and press back. The knees widen, the toes turn out, the heels might connect, and keeping your hands away from your feet, try to pull your butt down to the back edge. So during this COVID, a lot of people have transitioned to a work-from-home situation. And that may mean that you get to spend more of your workday with your dogs. Or maybe, like my brother, he can actually work anywhere. And so he came out to Colorado from California to visit me. So that wouldn't have happened, right? Last one. Point your toes and sit to your heels. And this time, maybe you can take your hands behind you and lean back. With more people at home, there's been less traffic. That's less pollution. Plant your hands in front of your knees. Lift your butt, curl your toes under. Lift your knees, press your heart back, or your butt down and back towards your heels. And this last one we're going to hold for a second. And maybe see if you can get your elbows on the mat. And if you can't get your elbows on the mat, I pray for your family. You must be a terrible person. And obviously I'm joking because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I think Bill Murray said that. And we should all listen to Bill Murray. Come into a tabletop. And all you're going to do is push back and lift your knees and straighten your legs for a moment. Come forward, heart over the thumbs, lower the knees down. Sit to the heels. Lift the knees and straighten the legs. Heart over the thumbs. Bend the knees, lower them gently to your mat. Push your butt back to your feet until your only remaining option of movement is to lift your knees and then straighten your legs. Maybe try to get those heels down one time. Give a good stretch into the calves and the back of the knee. And then heart over the thumbs. The knees bend and come gently to the floor. Take your right foot out to the side and push your butt back towards your left heel. Come forward. Push back. So bearing a difficult situation, a part of that is embracing the situation itself instead of just hoping that it's over. How can I take advantage of what the universe is presenting me with right now? Now, you might think, wow, for a Saturday morning, he's already super high. No. The beauty of yoga is the more you practice it, the more you get out of it, and that includes mental and emotional. Let's do the other side. Slide that right knee in and slide your left foot out. And all we're going to do is sit to the right heel and push our butt back and then oscillate out of that position and come forward. We're not going super slow and we're not going super fast. We're going at mindful speed. Coming forward and pushing back. And anywhere that feels interesting or feels like it's bringing relief to you or possibly even challenge, right? Challenge is important. Then just hover there for a moment. And release. Step that left knee into the right and come into downward facing dog, kids. Spread your fingers and grip your mat with your fingertips like you had tiger paws and you were going to claw your mat. Look straight down. And use your hands and your feet, and especially your low back, to try to stamp the bottom of your butt cheeks on the top of your ceiling. Lift your heels, breathe in. Press your heels slowly down, breathe out. Lower your knees, tabletop, breathe in. Hips back, child's pose, breathe out. Come forward, chest over thumbs. You can leave your knees down or you can lift them. Bend your elbows, touch the chest all the way to the ground. Nipples on the thumbs, and then push up and press back. Let's go through that 2 more times. Why 3? Because 2's not enough and 4's too many. Get off my back. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, press them down. Bring your knees to the mat, tabletop. Hips to heels, child's pose. Kumbhakasana, spring to a plank, knees up or down. Exhale, touch your chest all the way to the floor. Push all the way up and press back. Last one, guys. Make sure you're looking down, not at your feet. Lift your heels up high. Press your heels slowly down low. Bring your knees to the mat. Hips to heels, child's pose. Forward to Kumbhakasana. Exhale, nipples to thumbs. Push up, press back, right leg lifts. Bend your knee, open your hip, and turn the ankle a couple times. And then step your right foot gently between your thumbs, closer to the right thumb probably, and reach both hands up. Now with your hands in the air, not only do I want you to wave them like you just don't care, but when you're done with that, I want you to grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and then bend your elbows. I should be on that camera. Bend your elbows until this thumb is on the crown of your head. And make sure that when we flex laterally, that's to the right, that the thumb doesn't move from its position. We want to make sure that as we go to the right and lower right elbow towards the floor, we're not pulling left bicep to the face, okay? So I want you to resist with the left arm. And just keep leaning. You're trying to get your left elbow on the wall to your right and your right elbow to the floor, and then come back to center and reach up. And as you exhale, reach down, step back, and touch your chest to the floor. Push up and press back. Look straight down. Remember, you should see neither your feet or your hands. So chin away from chest until you're looking straight down where sweat would drop off your nose and hit your mat. Lift your left leg up. Turn that ankle once or twice. And lift the left knee, and as you exhale, step softly to your left thumb. And when you're ready, take your hands off the floor, push into your left foot, rise up, hands in the air, and then we want to lift the back heel. Let's go to the tape, Bob. So see that back heel? If I'm pushing down, I'm just pushing down into my range of motion at the ankle and the Achilles. But what I'm in effect trying to do is put weight on a heel that won't touch the floor, not unless you had incredible range of motion in your ankle. Better option is to lift the heel high so that you strengthen the leg and you stretch the arch of your foot and you splay your toes, okay? Now, let's go back to the side or the front. Grab a hold of your right wrist. Red Bull also gives you burps. Did you know that? Bend your elbows, fire your biceps. I know, like I'm about to rip out of this shirt, you know. So, slowly lean to your left. Remember, you're not trying to pull your right bicep to your face. Your right arm is resisting being pulled to the left. And come back to center and reach up. Plant your hands, step back, and touch your chest to the mat. Push up and press back. And we repeat. Lift your right leg up, open your hip, bend your knee. Step to the inside of your right thumb. Reach both hands up. As you exhale, grab your left wrist, bend your elbows till your thumbs touch your head, and lean to the right. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach down. We're still exhaling as we touch our chest to the floor. Inhale when you push. Exhale when you press. Lift your left leg, open your hip, bend your knee. Step to your left thumb. Reach both hands up. And maybe you're going a little faster, maybe a little slower. Doesn't matter. Bend your right wrist, grab your right wrist, bend your elbows, and try to get right elbow on the ceiling, left elbow on the floor. Come back to center and plant your hands. You know what to do. Exhale while your chest goes to your thumbs. Inhale when you push. Exhale when you press. One more set. Right leg lifts. Open the hip, bend the knee. Exhale, step to the inside of your right hand. Reach both hands up. Bend the elbows, grab your left wrist, and lean to the right. Inhale, reach up again. Exhale, reach down. Step back, touch your chest, push, and press. Last one, guys. Left leg lifts, open the hip, bend the knee. Exhale, step to the inside of the left hand. Reach both hands up. Bend the elbows, grab your right wrist. Lean to your left as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back, touch your chest, push, and press. Nice work, guys. Lower the knees. Sit to your heels. I always like a little bit of a post-salutation break. This is a great time to grab your beer or your wine. And especially and hopefully if you're not watching this on a Saturday morning, maybe you're doing this on a Thursday evening and you're like, fuck it, I need a drink. I need yoga and a drink. It can happen. That's all I'm saying. There's no judgment here. Step your right foot forward into a knight's position. Place your hands on your right thigh. And then push your knee over your toes, trying to push your right knee over the top of your mat. I'm going to go to the side so I can show you that my right heel is coming off the floor here. I'm not trying to lift it. I've just reached the end range of motion at the ankle. But now that I've got my right knee as far forward as I can get it, I'm going to try to drag my left knee forward. And you're going to feel this little hip twist right there at the pelvis. And now we're going to sit back to the left heel. And notice that I'm sitting on the left heel, my left toes are curled under. You have lots of options. If that's difficult to get that range of motion out of your foot, remember, you can always sit on a block. You could sit on a small child, whatever it takes. And you could also point your toes behind you and sit down that way if that's comfortable to you, all right? But through this practice this morning, we're not going to work super hard so much as we're going to oscillate in and out of certain positions. Come forward again. Hands on the thigh, hands on the floor if you feel unstable here at all. And then just try to push your knee forward. When you can get your knee any further forward, you're going to notice that your hips have slightly turned left. So try to drag left knee forward. It doesn't actually go anywhere. It just creates a more active stretch in your left hip flexors. And we're going to sit back again. The benefit of having your toes curled under, if you can bear that, is that it helps us give us healthy range of motion through the foot that we don't get when we're wearing shoes and walking on flat concrete. It helps us splay the toes. That's really important. Come forward. I feel bad for the feet because the feet are the forgotten part of the body in yoga, and they're just critical. I mean, it's just part of the very nature of humans. We were the apes. We took our hands off of the ground and we started walking on 2 feet. Sit back. And this time, if you want, pull your foot back, your right foot, splay and spread your toes, reach over and place the heel of your hand right on your toes and press your toenails to the top of the foot. Grip the forefoot and pull the top of the foot towards the shin. And then collarbones away from hip creases. Try to get a little taller, even though you're reaching forward for your foot. Release. We're going to plant the hands and flip. So my right foot isn't going to step back, it's going to step over my left leg. And I'm going to turn both feet so that I'm ready to almost do some wicked break dancing. And don't even get me popping and locking, because I would destroy you in a dance contest. Reach your right hand up like, God, give me a hand, please, lift me up. Lift your left foot, knee towards the chest. Lift the left leg, point your left big toe at the ceiling. And lower the left foot, butt to your heels, and flip over. Not fast, not slow, mindfully is the perfect speed. Press back into downward facing dog. See, through the course of a lifetime, the question for me becomes, every day, can I get another yoga practice in the books? Now, from a knight's pose, that's knees down. If I lost you guys, sorry. Tabletop, and then step your left foot forward. We're going to do the other side. Stack your hands on your left thigh. This is just how I'm feeling, man. I'm not in one of those moods where I want to work hard or make my yoga practice an exercise in self-flagellation. I save, the whips and stuff for when I have company usually. Ho! And then sit back. Sit back to the right foot. And remember, you can always sit your left butt cheek on something if this is uncomfortable. But try it first, okay? So what's really important about this practice, think about a kid trying to eat new food. These are a lot of new movements. And you might have a kid. I have an 8-year-old, and she's wonderful, but they might hold their nose, come forward. I don't want to try that. It looks gross. So now that I've got this catalog of yoga positions in my head, I often tell myself, I don't want to try that. But then that's when I know I have to. So usually I think about, what do I not want to do? And then I do that. Come forward. So our last one, see how much you can push that left kneecap forward. And then when you've reached your end range, push down into the right knee and just try to drag it forward until you feel your hips trying to correct. And that rotation of the hips might be 2 centimeters. But you feel how an engagement of a muscle will cause a reaction in a different part of your body. And then let's sit back. This time, pull the top of the foot back towards your shin and pull the toes towards the knee. Reach over. Heel of the hand on the toe pads. My fingers grab the forefoot. And then I just really try to use my hand to do what's sitting on my right heel, how that's affecting the splay of my right toes. For a little bit more, drive through the left heel and lift the collarbones. Remember, when you find that discomfort, play around with that. Play around with it. Release. That was very nice. Step back into downward facing dog. Okay, I forgot the flip. We got to flip it. We got to flip it for real. So come into a plank and lift your left foot and step over your right leg and turn away from the top of your mat to the ceiling. And then take the time to get your feet next to each other. They don't have to touch. And reach your left hand up. Take your right knee to the chest. Extend the right foot up. Point the right big toe at the ceiling. Plant the right foot, hips to heels, flip back over. Nice. Lower the knees, back into a tabletop. Sitting back to the heels. We're going to step the right foot forward. Some of you, especially some of you guys that are watching today, you've watched my practice evolve. And it evolves because I evolve and I get a little bit older. In some ways I have to relearn how to challenge myself. And part of it's therapeutic too. So now that we're in a tabletop, push your knee over your toes, press into the ball of your back foot to lift the left knee, and rise up. So if there's a theme to today, it's mindfulness. Because mindfulness gives us that yoga superpower where we can find the blessing in discomfort, pain, challenge, pandemic, quarantine, loneliness, whatever it is. Reach your arms out to your sides like you're going to give me a hug. Now I want you all to get lost in my eyes. And if I had a cameraman, I'd zoom in right now. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm getting ready to have another great day with my brother who's in Colorado. So there's a blessing there. Leaning forward, lift the left leg up. We're in a warrior 3, but our hands are reaching out. And we're trying to look down at the floor and focus on squaring the hips off to the top edge of the mat and keeping the arms and hands out of our peripheral vision. Just a few more seconds here. Bend your left knee and reach down to touch your right big toe with both index fingers. Now, while you're touching your right big toe, think about your left big toe. Hug your left knee to the midline. Push into your right heel. keeping your left hamstring squeezed. That's your heel close to your butt. Try to lift your left knee. And then rise up and step forward. Yeah! Switch legs. We were standing on the right leg, so we're going to take it off of the floor, that right foot, and cross the ankle to the thigh. Point your right big toe to the left baseboard. Squat down. So the more we used that right glute to hold us in balance, the more it's going to say, fuck you, when you try to stretch it right here. So push the ankle down, the right ankle against the left thigh, and try to lift your right knee up and even try to drive it forward. So while you're trying to lift your right knee and drive it forward, push your butt back, especially your right butt cheek back against your pants or your shorts, whatever you're wearing. And if you're naked, good on you, man. That's the benefit of a COVID pandemic. You're just watching yoga on a video in your living room, buck ass naked and getting wild. Plant your right foot. Reach both hands up into the air. Grab a hold of your left wrist. We're going to revisit lateral flexion. Thumbs touch the top of the head. Elbows bend. Biceps fire. Slight bend in the knees. The hips go back slightly. And I'm going to try to touch the ceiling with my left elbow. And then come back to center. And you're going to take your left hand. I'm going to switch cameras so you can see the sucker coming around. Like I'm going to hide something behind my back. I'm going to reach back and grab my left hand with my right, pull the hand over so that my forearm is behind my back. Hold the right hand to the hip. Let's go back to the front. So here's my hands. I'm clapping here on the right side. Make sure that when you lower your left or right ear to right shoulder, you don't end up drifting hips left. So actively push your right hip against your joined palms and lower your right ear. From here, I simply want you to imagine there's ink on your nose and your nose is close to a wall. I want you to draw a line, a vertical line 1 inch with your nose. So again, if I could, I would zoom right in here on my face so that you could get lost in my eyes. And I'm sort of giving you that nod, like, yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. And release. Reach up, breathe in. The only thing that makes yoga better is learning to smile while you practice it. Exhale, hinge forward. Lift your left leg. And step back, leaving your left hand on the mat or placing a block under your left hand if the floor is too far away for you to straighten your spine. Reach up with your right hand, twisted triangle. Let's go to the side and see how my triangle is today, because like I said, I'm stiff and sore and tired, but all you got to do is be willing to do the work. You know what yoga requires? Not a mat, not a $200 outfit. It requires willingness. So try to stamp the print of your right foot into your mat. Lift your left heel. Pull your collarbones away from your right thigh. Release. Place the right hand down and step back into a plank position. Why don't we lower all the way to the ground and do a little cross core? This is one of my favorite strengthening moves for the muscles that support the spine. It's essentially a bird dog. So we're going to push our knees down. I'm going to go to the side. And am I on the side? This is going to look dirty. I'm not going to lie. This is going to look like it's rated X. I'm going to push my knees down, and that's going to lift my butt and my groin off the floor, right? And then I'm going to lift my right leg and left hand. But I don't know if the camera picks it up, but my groin is still off the ground. Both of my bony hip protrusions, the ACEs, are still off the ground. And I'm trying to breathe, and I'm trying not to think, God damn it, when can I stop doing this pose? This is fucking bullshit and I'm tired. Release. Because it is that difficulty, that challenge, that shitty little moment that leads to lots of great moments where I have a strong enough spine to pick up my daughter, to run around with her. Thumbs under your nipples, leave your knees on the ground, and push into a tabletop. Now we're going to step right foot to the outside of the right hand. And just like before, because you can't get loose enough, guys, so that's why maybe the whine, I don't know. Heart forward, hips back. Now your hands are glued to the floor, so don't sit all the way to your heels. Come forward and push back. Come forward and push back. Now let's come forward again, and I want you to toe heel your right foot over to the left edge of your mat and lower the right knee down and make your right shin as parallel to the top edge of your mat as you can get it, to where you might be able to place your left hand on your foot, your right hand on your knee. Now, a moment ago, while we were lying on our belly, I told you to press into your left knee, so do that again. And it feels like you're trying to lift your groin away from the floor, and your pubic bones might come forward. And now we're going to step the hands forward and bring the elbows down. Now your right foot's going to want to slide back. So one thing that you can do, my little trick is to use my right quote fingers and just capture the big toe and try to pull it back to the right side of my mat while my big toe resists. And then I use my left hand to grab my right elbow. That's my preferred resting pigeon position. And then you can just try to get your right butt cheek on the mat and your left hip on the mat, just rotating through the hips there to stimulate those glute muscles. Because you might be a tight ass, literally. And you might have a lazy ass. And it's also, I was explaining to, I think my brother, you can get what's called glute amnesia, where the butt muscles just don't know how to fire correctly, and they just depend on a bunch of synergistic muscles to handle their work. So this is the process of just everybody learning to do their job and everybody getting the kudos having done their job. We want to infuse our practice with gratitude. Release, guys. Come back onto your hands. Step back into downward facing dog. And we're going to work on the other side. Lift your left leg into the air and step to the inside of your left thumb. Rise up into Anjaneyasana. Lift the right heel. Remember, here's a good way to think about your practice when you're practicing at home. No matter what position you're in or moving into, work from the floor up. So the first thing I think about is lifting the right heel and putting more weight in the left heel. We tend to be in the forefoot because we push ourselves up on the left side here. And that means if the left heel can move, there's not enough weight on it. So put weight on your left heel without lifting the forefoot, okay? Use that whole left foot. We're going to reach out and lean forward. So your yoga practice can be really, really difficult, really, really gentle. But that's just the energy you're putting into your body and pulling from your body. The real trick is mindfulness. Now let's lift that right leg up. And remember, if we were reaching forward, we'd be in Warrior 3. We're just reaching out and try to put the arms where we can't see them as we look down at the floor. And while we're balancing on our left leg, while it's strengthening, we're also strengthening the shoulders, the back, the right leg, to try to lift everything else away from the ground. Bend your right knee and reach down to touch your left big toe. Now with your index fingers on the tip of your big toe, think about your right big toe. Squeeze the heel to your glute. Lift the right knee as high as you can get it today. Tomorrow will be different. It'll be less or more, but tomorrow doesn't count. Do what you can today. And then step forward as you rise up. And that left glute has really been asked to handle quite a load. Place your left ankle on your right thigh. Squat down. And place your right hand on your left ankle. And firmly press. If we were firmly pressing down with both hands, left hand on the left knee, right hand on the ankle, let me go to the front here, then it would almost feel like I was trying to break my ankle. And notice that when you push your left knee down, you'll feel that in your left glute, but that's a little bit more medius. And also you might feel it in your groin. So push the right hand against the ankle and actively lift the left knee towards your right shoulder. And even try to use the heel of your left hand to push your left knee forward while you push your butt cheeks back. Release it. Plant your left foot, reach your hands up high, grab a hold of your right wrist, bend the elbows, fire the biceps. And remember, when we pull to the left, we're going to resist to the right. My thumbs don't move at all when I place them on the top of the head. Remember, we're trying to prevent the hips from drifting to the right. So unlock the knees, and that's going to help you keep your hips above your heels. And think about right elbow to the ceiling, left elbow to the floor. And come back to center. Reach up, take a deep breath. Exhale, hinge forward. Lift the right leg, step back, and we're going to do reverse triangle. So the left hand reaches up. We turn our chest to the left. Use a block or a baby underneath your right hand. And that's a great metaphor, as sick as that is, because I'm trying to reach up with such intent that there's not a lot of pressure of my right hand. In fact, if I just put a little bit more effort into it, my right hand would come off the ground, right? So don't think of it as crushing a baby. Think of it as just holding a baby down so it can't move. Okay, I'm going to regret everything I said today. Release. And lower the right knee down. And step back, lie down on your belly. You guys know I'm kidding about the baby thing, right? I would never hold a baby down unless I had to. Lower your chest. Reach your hands forward. This is the good juice, man. This is like the orange juice with just the right amount of pulp in it. You know, too much and it's just like an orange malt. Not enough and you're like, what is this, Tang? So first, press your knees down to lift your groin. And that's why it looks X-rated if I show you that move repeatedly. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is lift my right hand and left leg. I'm pushing into the left palm and down into the right knee. My groin is not touching the mat. Neither one of my hip bones is touching the mat. And release. Very gently. Slide your hands back so your thumbs are under your nipples. Leave your knees on the floor and push into a tabletop. We're going to step the left foot to the outside of the left hand, and we're going to move it. Pull your heart forward. I like to move it, move it. And then push back. Remember, your hands are glued to the floor. So go back as far as it feels right to do so without your hands sliding back. Come forward, pull the collarbones over the top edge like you want to finish a race first and break that tape with your chest. And then pull back, keep your hands where they are. Keep your hands where I could see them. Come forward. Oh, yeah. Wiggle around a little bit. And then pull back. Ba-da-ba-ba-bop. I'm loving it. And release. Step that left knee back to the right. And point your toes behind you. Sit to your heels. We're moving into the third period if this was a hockey game. Oh, sweat every day. Simplest concept in the world. You'll be a happier person if you sweat every day, and there is a fuck ton of science to back all that up. Now, I thought the one thing that I did come to my mat today with was I really want to focus a little bit on balance and breath, because the world, such as it is, it kind of makes us feel off balance. But balance is inherently up to us. Okay, last sequence, guys. Step your right foot forward. Push the knee forward over the toes. Push into the ball of your left foot until your left knee lifts. Rise up. Hands in the air, right leg straight. Bend the left knee, lift the left heel. So don't even think about bending the left knee. Just think about lifting the left heel, and your left knee will want to bend to accommodate that action at the floor. Now remember, if your right heel is moving, it's because there's not enough weight on it. And it should feel like your thumbs and your butt are on a wall behind you. And now we're going to come forward, reaching forward. We're going to come into a true warrior three. Lift your left leg up. And looking down at the floor in front of your mat, point your left big toe, lift your arms till you can't see them. So remember, there's two ways to do this, and one of them is not the right way, and that's to lower your head so you're looking at your left foot. Then it's easy to not see your arms. So try to look 3 feet in front of the edge of your mat and lift your arms from there. And then go ahead and rise up. Plant that left foot. Lower your arms. We're going to take the right foot and place the arch of the foot on the inner thigh. So normally what you might see is heel under the groin and toes pointing straight down at your inner ankle. What I'd rather you do this morning is place the big toe on the top of the thigh above the knee and the heel on the inside of the groin. And that means the arch of your foot could, if you really tried to push your right foot into your thigh, feels like you're trying to push your femur bone to the left, all right? From here, we're going to slide thumbs over the ears, Elbows are close to the face. Lift the elbows and look up. Now push your left thigh against your right foot and your right foot against your left thigh. Like people were going to grab your knees and try to separate the foot from the leg. Okay, now facing forward again, take your hands up into the air and then lean to your right. Keep the pressure in your palms. Don't settle for contact between the palms. Put pressure in your palms, like you're squeezing a slice of bread. And then come back to center, and hopefully your left leg wants to cry right from the arch of the foot up into the hamstring. That's what we were going for. We were trying to create misery and discomfort, because how can you really experience joy unless you experience the other side? Reach both hands up. Hinge forward and bow to your heart work, to your practice, to our ancient masters. Lift your left leg and step back. Now we're going to do one open hip position today, and that's a triangle, because we did a reverse triangle. So I'm going to slide my left toes out and place my right hand on a block next to my right foot. Maybe you don't need one. If you don't have a block, place your hand on your shin. And I'm on the front. That's a better camera anyway. Reach your left hand up. And it doesn't matter if your right hand is on the floor. What I'd rather you work on is trying to create a straight spine. So try to feel where your tailbone is, all right? And then lift the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Work on creating a straighter spine, and that means lengthening the right side body. Your right foot on your mat can be the force that you push against to push your right hip away from the top edge of your mat. If you practice with me regularly, you know I hold triangle a long time. This is such a beautiful, strong, therapeutic pose. There's a bit of a hierarchy to yoga poses, and some really just don't provide a lot of functional benefit, and some provide a ton. And I'm a big lover of triangle. Reach your left hand over your head, turn your palm down like you're dropping a microphone, and you're trying to drop that microphone not on your right foot, but in front of it. From here, we're going to come into reverse warrior. Take your left hand, slide it behind your back. As you bend your right knee, reach your right hand up. And again, take your time. We're not trying to ever get to the end of our yoga practice. We're trying to experience the journey, and yoga is a living, moving metaphor for life. We want to enjoy the moment. Steady breath. Hold that reverse warrior. Stay in your discomfort. Experience it. Believe in its value. Release. Cartwheel your hands to your right foot. Step back. Downward facing dog. Now, I want you to try to make your body still, but not rigid. Think about a pond of water with no wind, a still pond. Lower the knees. And step forward. Now in traditional vinyasa, you would just down dog and step forward, but as I've my practice constantly evolves. I really like kneeling and stepping forward. It's just functional. These are functional things that we're asking our body to do. We're going to push the left knee forward. Lift the right knee up by pressing into the ball of the right foot, so that every move, every mindful movement becomes something useful and essential to the body. So if maybe you're new to my practice and you're like, we didn't do a single upward facing dog. We do the benefit of upward facing dog many times. We just do it on one side. So this act of going forward and pushing into the ball and lifting the knee up, I'm doing upward facing dog in my right leg right now. Now hands in the air. First thing we're going to do is straighten the left leg. And remember, don't think about bending your right knee because it'll want to go down, right? Think about lifting your right heel so that the sole of your right foot from the forefoot to the Achilles feels like you could place it against a wall. From there, just bend the right knee. Now that is unusual. It's quickly uncomfortable and challenging because we hardly ever load the back leg in yoga. So this might be a new experience for you. Now come forward, reach forward, and see if you can lift your right foot without pushing off of it. And again, lift the arms, lift the right leg, and you're trying to do this without your hips turning away from the top of your mat to the right. We don't have to do a bunch of tricky things here, do we? Release. Gravity is our resistance. Step forward. Now remember, for this tree pose, heels under the groin, but the big toe is over the knee. And you're going to try to grab your leg with your toes. Remember how much effort we put into splaying the toes? Same thing. We're trying to restore full range of motion to the foot because our shoes and, well, this is kind of a funny joke, a flat earth, because we pave everything and put concrete down everywhere. There's no challenge to the foot. Hands reach up, pressure on your palms. Bend your right knee. And push left foot against right thigh against your foot. And then lift the heel of your hands and take them over to your left. And back to center. What? Release. Reach up, breathe in, hinge, and fold forward. Lift the right foot, step it back, turn your right heel down and in, and place a block if you're using a block on the inside of your left foot. Remember, left hand to the shin works very nicely. And we're coming into triangle. So, right hand reaches up. And if your right hand reaches up with enough intention, you're not crushing your baby under your left hand. So to that end, I think I want to throw this into the mix today, this thought, is that we should work as hard to not be offended as we work to not offend. Lengthen your left side. And if your ribs are stacked over your left thigh, and you're pulling your heart away from your groin away from your heart, trying to lengthen your torso, we're using the constraints of the pose to try to push against its boundaries. Take your right hand and reach over. And breathe smooth. It's not just the challenge, it's our ability to breathe through it. Come into reverse warrior. Take your right hand to your lumbar. Reach your left hand up. Now, remember, there's a couple common tendencies here when we reverse. There's three, actually. One is to straighten the front leg as we reach back, so keep that left knee bent. The second thing is to release tension out of the pose. We might bend the elbow, the left elbow. So if you want to feel yourself diminishing the pose, bend your left elbow, place your hand on your head, straighten your left leg, and there's really not much opportunity there. As soon as you bend your knee and straighten your arm, there's tons of opportunity. A lot of people try to turn this into a back bend. I want you to think about moving laterally. That's working through your sides, because that's going to help lengthen the side bodies to make room for a more easier, natural deep breath. We get emotionally tight in the chest. We lock down with those intercostal muscles in the ribs. Take a deep breath and cartwheel your hands. Plant them to your left foot and step back into downward facing dog. And for the last time this morning, or this evening if you're watching it later, become like still water on a lake. If your eyes are open, remember, you should be looking down where sweat might be dropping onto your mat. Better still, close your eyes. Press the nipples a little bit closer to the big toes. And release the knees gently down to your mat. Back into our hero position. You guys are heroes. We could be heroes just for one day. Thank you, David Bowie. I don't know about you, but I feel like $100. Now we're going to step the knees to the top edge, cross the ankles, and take a seat. Extend your right leg out straight. And I want you to grab your right big toe or the arch of your foot with your left hand. And it doesn't matter if you have to bend your knee to do that. Please do that. Now, by reaching with the left hand for the right foot, your chest slightly turns to the right, and your heart is kind of in front of your knee. So placing your right hand to the right, try to pull the top of your foot towards your chest with your left shoulder, and try to drive through the left heel. So there's this energetic loop of me trying to push through the leg and pull back through the arm, and push through the leg and pull back through the arm. So try to create that energetic loop while you plant your right hand flat and turn gently to your right. Now we're going to cycle out of that. Place your left hand behind you. Turn the arch of your right foot down. And lift your butt. And reach behind you. You're trying to drop a microphone out of your right hand without it hitting your left hand. Release. Lower your butt and back to position one. Left hand grabs the right foot. Lift your heart, turn slightly to the right. You don't even have to really look to the right. You're just using your right hand, and if the block was under my hand, it would do an even better job of helping me turn slightly when I push down into the right hand and pull with the left arm. Back to position two. Left hand behind you. Lift your butt, reach your right hand up and over. Your left hand, by the way, is trying to push you forward or trying to slide your mat towards the back wall out from underneath your left foot. Release, back to position 1. Grab your foot, plant your right hand, lift your heart, push and pull. And back to position 2. Because the one thing I really noticed today when I woke up is I was really tight through the sides and tight through the hamstrings. So what I always do is just try to give my body the cure it needs for that day and release. And some days it needs a shit ton of cures, right? Plant your right foot, capture your right knee on the inside of the left elbow. Place your right fingertips behind you, pull your belly in tight, turn to your right. Now remember, don't wait for the pose to be over or anticipate doing it on the other side. Be in the moment. My brother and I went and saw a movie yesterday. That was a super weird and rare treat. And we saw Synchronic. Very trippy movie, maybe look it up. But it's all about being present. That's my favorite lesson. Switch your legs, guys. Now remember, we're simply oscillating between 2 beneficial positions. We're going to end with a seated twist. So, in this case, instead of reaching with left hand, which we would often do, we're going to reach with the right hand. Place your left hand to the left of you. And now we're going to create that energetic loop. I'm pulling my right shoulder blade onto my back and igniting the left quad group to try to drive my left heel away from me. I'm simultaneously trying to get the top of my foot away from my chest and pull it to my chest. And a little turn to your left, but don't really work on rotation because our spine is in flexion. It won't rotate much, and we're not trying to. Now release. Place your right hand behind you. Left hand is going to reach up. Lift your butt and reach over. And remember, you can probably see it a little bit better here. I'm not just trying to reach for the back of my mat. I'm trying to push the back of my mat backwards. And in so doing, pushing my hips forward towards the top edge of the mat. Release. Right hand grabs the left foot again, left hand left. Create your energetic loop and slight turn. Almost as though you just want to create that nice shape on your right back and shoulder to where you could feel your right shoulder blade being hugged back with the traps and the rhomboids. Drive through the heel. You're muscularly heavily engaged at your right shoulder and the top of your left thigh. Release. Back to position 2. Plant your right hand, reach your left hand up and over, and you're trying to push your hips forward. I can really feel my left foot on the floor sliding forward as I try to push myself. And release. Last one, guys. Grab your left foot with your right hand, plant the left hand, pull your chest towards your foot, try to push your foot away from your chest simultaneously, and then turn slightly. Back to position 2. Reach up and over, lift your hips, push yourself forward while reaching back. Release, seated twist. Step your left foot back, capture your left knee on the inside of your right elbow. Plant your left fingertips behind you, get nice and tall. Push both sitting bones down like you wanted to leave your butt print in clay or mud. Lift through the heart, then the crown of the head. So that space right under your earlobes is trying to lift away from the shoulders. It's not so much about turning your head, guys. Remember, most of the easiest rotation comes between the first and second vertebra in your neck. So try not to initiate a twist with your neck. Try to finish a twist with your neck. That means you're looking behind you last. You're trying to turn your shoulder girdle over your hip girdle. Release. Now I invite you to either sit in Sukhasana, if you prefer to meditate at the end of your practice, or lie back. And also remember, if there's a pose that you really want to do and I didn't suggest it, please feel free to continue. But let's just take that moment of stillness, that moment of restfulness. And once you bring your body into stillness, whether you're seated or lying down, invite in that stillness again. Become present to anything you can sense wherever you are. And obviously that includes the sound of my voice. But try to listen without labeling. So if you hear a car horn honk outside of your house or apartment, just be in the moment of that sound rather than trying to figure out what horn it was or why it was honking. So in this moment, we're just trying to listen without labeling, to experience without judging or analyzing. We're trying to not figure things out, but to be in this moment as this is filmed, Saturday morning, October 24th. I'm alive on planet Earth. And all of society's challenges, like pandemics and quarantines, there are blessings to be found even in times like these. In these difficult times, I have the beautiful opportunity to spend really quality time with my brother who I don't see much. And perhaps you're thinking, I've had too much quality time with my family. I want to get a fucking way. Maybe that is your challenge. Or it's our opportunity. And how we see it is a choice. Thank you guys for practicing with me. Bless you. Namaste.